I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop Meeting for January 8, 2020. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
I would like to ask Commissioner Andrus, on the night that he is going to be re-sworn in, if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Flag of the United States.
One nation, under God, indivisible.
All right. Our first workshop meeting of the year. Is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda? Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lees. Questions or comments? All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, tonight's agenda. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on agenda items only? No?
And even Happy New Year.
Ah, there we go. Happy New Year to everybody. All right, we have consent items. Is there a motion to move into the record the consent items that are listed in your agenda? Motion by Commissioner Lees. Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. For those who are with us and those who are watching, the consent items include the police report for the month of December 2019, the Calmer Fire Company monthly report for December 2019, the HTMA monthly budget report for November 2019, the HTMA meeting minutes November 12, 2019, and the Hatfield Volunteer Fire Company 2019 report. Questions or comments? With that, I will call the question. All in favor of moving those items into the record, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. All right, we are going to move to committee reports first and save our exciting event, our special presentation, for a little bit later. So let's jump right in. Vice President Rogers, Planning and Zoning Committee.
Sounds good, thank you. The first item is the Little Round Industries on 2800 Richmond Road, land development application. Mr. Amy?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Vice President. Little Round Industries, actually, maybe a preface, we thought it would be a good idea for the first regular meeting of the year just to bring the board up to date with anything that we think might be coming through the pipeline and ready for approval in the next couple of meetings. So we have two projects that are in that category. One is the Little Round Industries, which is at 2800 Richmond Road. It's a metal fabrication plant. It's been out there for years. They currently do a lot of their work outdoors. And the plan is to construct approximately 26,000 square foot addition, which would move the entire operation indoors and clean that corner of the township up a little bit. The property fronts on Richmond Road, backs up to the railroad tracks in the rear, and it's directly across the street from Penn Color, which is currently going through some pretty significant renovations. New building. The property is about 3.7 acres and takes access from Richmond Road. They're looking for some waivers from strict compliance with stormwater regulations and landscaping regulations, and they're also looking for a waiver from the sidewalk requirements. Other than that, the project is just about ready to go. There are some discussions in place between the developer and our township traffic engineer about the traffic impact fee, and once that's resolved, the project will be ready for the board to take action. So again, we just wanted to bring you up to speed where we are with that one and let you know that you can expect that it will be on the agenda probably in February. Second item is Sukartha Realty, which is 150 Bethlehem Pike. And Aaron has the graphic up on the screen that shows where it is. This property is just south of the Tiger Schulman's gym on Bethlehem Pike, directly across the street from North Penn Imports. It's a small piece of property. It's about 4/10 of an acre, and it currently is the location of a non-conforming residential home in the commercial district. The new owners of the property are proposing to build approximately an 880 square foot addition to the rear of the property and convert the entire structure into medical offices. So there are stormwater management facilities being constructed, new parking lot being constructed, quite extensive landscaping, which will include a buffer from the residential properties to the rear. There has been some discussion about that buffer. We believe the discussions are nearing completion with our township landscape architect, and we are also expecting the developer to get back to us with his approval or his agreement with the traffic impact fee that's been calculated by our traffic engineer. If all of that's done, again, this project would be ready for the board to take action. I don't believe that would be likely to happen before one of your February meetings. So probably see it on the agenda in February for any discussion that we might have prior to the board being asked to act on that application.
Questions, comments about that?
Yes, the third item, it's being called the Bexley development. This is a proposal from WB Homes, who I think everybody remembers most recently did the project right across the street, right at the end of Hedgewood, Belmont Estates project. And the request is to do something similar with the Lawton and Miller properties, which are two properties on Orvilla Road, very near the 90-degree bend on Orvilla Road. Oh, here we go. It's up on the screen. And the Miller property sits right here. It's right at that 90-degree bend on Orvilla Road. And then the Lawton property tucks in behind it and comes in off of Pelham Drive and has access out to Orvilla as well. WB Homes has both of those properties under agreement. They total about 36 acres. And under our RA1 regulations, if a property exceeds 10 acres in area, it can be developed as a cluster development. And that's the application that has been submitted by WB Homes. They would like to develop this as a cluster development. And what they need to do in order to be entitled to cluster is they need to show that they have at least 10 acres of land, and they need to agree to set aside at least 15% of that land as permanent open space. So what they will do at the hearing, there will be a public hearing into the hearing, they will then show the board a plan that depicts the potential development or the proposed development on the site, and they will show that they comply with all of the requirements in the RA1 district for clustering. The board will then have an opportunity to ask any questions they might have. The public will be notified. There would be a notification sent out to everyone within 500 feet and a notice placed in the local paper. Well, the purpose of this being on the agenda tonight is for the board to make a motion to advertise this public hearing, and we would suggest that it be advertised for the first meeting in February, the February workshop meeting.
What is being proposed and what's on the agenda is merely a motion to advertise. It's not a motion to take any action for those of you who are in the process or who are watching. So tonight is just advertise it, and then the hearing would be on the 12th itself.
The hearing would be on the 12th, and at that hearing, there would be a presentation made by the developer, and there would be an opportunity for anyone in the audience or for any board members to ask questions of the developer and his consultants.
And
Commissioner, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. President, but the agenda will not have consideration from the board that night. It's simply a public hearing to take in the information, and then the expectation would be then the following meeting, at the regular meeting in February, the board would take action on the conditional use application.
And then so on the 12th, this is just articulating the process. On the 12th, the developer would also not only make the presentation, but they would show us what the design looks like publicly, and then that's how, as Ken and Aaron, you've already said, that gives the public and us the opportunity to ask questions and give comments.
Correct.
Proposing to develop those lots independently of each other?
There will be one road that will come in off of Pelham Drive, and it will be a long cul-de-sac with an emergency access out to Orville Road. But the two properties will be tied together with that road.
But is the cluster going to be cluster on one property and cluster on the other, or is it going to be grouped together?
There will be cluster homes on both properties. And predominantly, the open space, as I understand it, will all be located down along the stream. Property backs up to the stream corridor, which runs through this area, and the open space is going to be concentrated down toward the stream.
Where's the access points?
Access points would be primary access would be off of Pelham, right through this area. Emergency access out to Orville in the area where the Miller's current driveway is located.
Know how many homes they're talking about?
The plan currently shows 36. Cluster provision allows them a density of 2.2 units per developable acre, which would, if they were able to max that out, it would give them probably about 48 or 49 homes. Because of the development constraints on this property with the stream and some wetlands and a pipeline that runs through it, they're not able to get anywhere near that maximum number, but they are looking at 36.
Great comparison, commissioners, and for residents watching or here as a reference, the development that just went in within the last 3 years across the street on Vine, across from the Aquatic Center, it's called the Belmont plan. Same size lots as this, same type of product. Those were all ultimately built by Ryan Homes, but these are being proposed at this point to be built by WB Homes, but a similar type of development. I think that Ken had 23 homes over there, so this will have a
Yes,
little
it was
bit more,
23.
but a similar development with an extension of an existing public road, similar to what happened in that development. So that would be a good comparison.
Operate as the road comes in, so the
They are, and they can show you that in more detail, but the big picture is the way the property is currently configured, the corner house right here actually owns all the way up and across the pipeline. What WB has arranged is a land swap with that property owner to allow direct connection and a four-way intersection at this point, so that their proposed road can come straight in. So this property owner will get some additional land on the west side of his property in exchange for giving up that small piece at the intersection. The piece where the original farmhouse is on the Lawton property is going to be retained by Ms. Lawton for the time being. So that would be one larger lot that would be one of those 36 homes, one of the
That'll be
36
roughly
lots.
5 acres.
Just a little less than 5 acres, yes.
That 5 acres is part of the 36 total?
Yes.
Of which 15% has to be dedicated to open space?
15% is dedicated as open space, yes.
Right. Any other questions or comments for tonight? All right, then I will entertain a motion to advertise for a public hearing for February 12th with regard to the Bexley Development WB Homes. Is there such a motion? Motion by Vice President Rogers. Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Any other questions or comments? And I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing no objection, that is approved, and it'll be moved to our February 12th agenda. All right, next is, Bob, do you have anything else under Public Works Committee? Commissioner Lees.
Thank you, Mr. President. There will be a Public Works Committee meeting later this month to discuss the 2020 road paving program. The commissioners have budgeted over $800,000 to improve the roads in the Hatfield community, and we'll be starting to work with Public Works staff and the engineers to finalize the program for this year. We'll present that information at next month's workshop meeting and hopefully bid the project out in February to get started a little earlier this year. We'll have, sir.
All right, great, thank you. Next is Park and Recreation Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Thank you. there's a packed-filled agenda, so I got to pick up where Laura Thomas stopped here. So upcoming programs, the American Girl Tea, this Sunday, the 12th, from 1:30 to 2:30. It's $15 per child. Winter Wednesday, which is next Wednesday, the 15th of January, from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Family movies, chili cook-offs, s'mores, escape room, and you must pre-register to attend. Get Fit series, Get Fit Zumba on Mondays from 7 till 8 p.m. The current session is sold out, but there are more sessions coming. Please register on hatfieldrec.com. Some important information regarding ski lift tickets discounts. There's a complete list of ski resorts that are available for those discount purchases. Just check with the Township website. And more importantly, the Hatfield Aquatic Center online registration opens this coming Wednesday the 15th. Be sure to read all the information on the website as we have several new changes for the 2020 season. Hatfield.org for more information. A review of the Santa event for 2019. Last month, the Hatfield Police Department, Hatfield Police Benevolent Association, Hatfield Parks and Recreation Department welcomed Santa. Over about 100 families and over 150 kids joined us for our North Pole workshop, games, crafts, and activities, as well as posing for pictures with Santa. It was very successful. Thank you very much.
Great. All right, next is public safety, and nothing to report at this month's meeting, so right back to Finance Committee. Commissioner Andrews.
There is nothing.
Okay. How about we go to the Township staff report, Township manager's report. We'll jump around a little bit on the agenda, but for reasons that'll become apparent in a few moments. Aaron.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. President. I thought it would make sense to start the new year in 2020 with a quick overview on some of the goals that have been established by the commissioners in the budget process over the last few months. Just to give the residents a sense, I mean, we've talked about this, it's in the budget, all of these items. We've talked about them at public workshops. We've talked about them throughout the budget process, but it's a good way with two new elected officials on board. We thought it made sense. It would be a good night to just get us all on the same page as far as some of the goals for the township for 2020. So some of the police department goals, as outlined by Chief Tierney, we're replacing a retired officer. We'll be hiring a new officer in addition. There'll be some in-house promotions for sergeant and corporal. The police will be purchasing some noise suppressors for some of the rifles as a best practice. 2 new police vehicles like we do every year, and our police, which does one of the best jobs that you'll see of any department out there, community interaction, community policing. They'll continue to grow and develop those programs. Some of our public works goals for the year, other than just our routine items, we have a stormwater project on Deer Run Road to fix an ongoing flooding issue that we've had there. There's some issues on Leon Drive that we're going to look at as well. The Public Works Department will be purchasing a new tractor with a flail mower so we can trim right-of-ways more efficiently, and some of our basins for Sergeant Tarter. Purchasing a track hoe, as well as a freezer trailer for our Parks and Rec events. You've probably seen those when you buy your ice cream at our Music Feast concerts. We've been renting that for years, and we've had some issues with renting it and it breaking down, so this year we're going to buy our own, so we have the ability to use it at not just that event, but other events, and as well as at the Aquatic Center. If we have a power outage, we're able to then salvage a lot of the concession type of food and other items instead of wasting them. Then obviously other routine items that our Public Works guys do such a great job on, and their overall task list is extensive, and they do great work. Parks and Rec, some of the goals that we've identified. And again, this goals process was public feedback from residents, leadership from commissioners, and staff trying to implement. Second pavilion is coming to School Road Park this spring. Rocktoberfest, utilize that second pavilion and bring in more family-oriented groups and vendors. Expand our summer camp options. We have a pretty successful summer camp program, roughly 100 kids, and it's a lot of work, but it's an asset for a lot of the families here in Hatfield. Restructure one of 3 races that we have, our 5 and Dime, which is in April, trying to breathe a little bit of life into that event. It's becoming somewhat stale. Some more promotional items for the Aquatic Center. I know a lot of commissioners will be excited to take some selfies with Sharky. I have no doubt. Some bus trips, which you'll see one's being promoted right now on Facebook, to Washington, D.C. to see the cherry blossoms. If any resident is interested in that, that's a joint venture that we have with Upper Gwinnett Township. Some Winter Wednesdays, we've already had one. We have one coming up as well, as a great idea from the Parks and Rec staff and the Parks and Rec board as a way to just have some smaller events on Wednesday nights in the winter when not as much is going on, to bring people into the township building and have something fun. We had a Christmas or a holiday oriented one toward the end of 19, and we have a few more planned for this year. And then hopefully we're going to have a movie in the park too at some point this summer, which will be nice. Emergency management, just a lot of cross-training.
If I could
Yes,
stop you,
please,
could you go back
please.
to the slide before? That pavilion, is that the one, is that being donated?
It is. So that is being donated by the Forst family, correct, in honor of former Commissioner Bill Forst. Yes, so no taxpayer dollars spent. on
Sorry to
the
interrupt, but
pavilion.
I thought that
No.
that was the one, and I think great to acknowledge the family.
And I appreciate the interruption. It's going to be located not far from the existing one where the old volleyball court was. Remember the sand volleyball court that we removed? So it's going to be in that footprint, essentially. So it'll give more shade for the concert goers. And emergency management department, not as exciting as parks, but equally as important, or arguably more important, depending on what happens in the town. But just a lot of cross-training, a lot of modernizing our department as far as taking a lot of our documents that we are mandated to keep and scanning those. That's been an ongoing project we've been doing now for years, and we're probably about 60% complete, where our basement, which was full of documents, most of them are now electronically accessible, which has made it a lot better for all of us, except Ken, who knows where all the originals are that we don't. But it's been a good effort, and we're working our way of finishing that project. Some of the Aquatic Center goals that we've talked about last year, you probably recall, we've invested significantly into the infrastructure and the capital improvements of the Aquatic Center. Thanks to Commissioner Andrus, who pushed the process of making sure we keep this facility at the standard that we created years ago when it was built. So we're pretty much done with most of those projects. We have to finish some of the tiling of one of the lap pool, new deck, painting some of those sections, rebuilding pumps, a lot of the maintenance type of stuff. So last year, this list had a lot more big-ticket projects and items, but thankfully, those will last a lot longer, we hope. Transportation goals, this one, finally, we're gonna have a great year in 2020. We're gonna see a lot of the behind-the-scenes work that we've been doing for years. It will actually be tangible, and the residents are gonna see it, and it's gonna improve the way traffic moves in Hatfield. Cowpath and Orvilla, which is my other item. Cowpath and Orvilla, two words together that we have said at least 25,000 times in this room over the last 20 years. At the next meeting, the commissioners get to finally award that bid to a contractor to begin the project, which we hope in March. So it's finally here. I know I probably said that
Are you
a few
teasing us
times,
with this?
and then for some reason we had to pull it.
Start of the year joke of some sort?
You haven't
or-
said March of which year yet.
Right.
Not an April Fool's joke. So we have all of the agreements with all of the residents, thanks to our solicitor, helped facilitate that. The board approved them over the last few months. As you know, we acquired four properties, 3 homes, a closed gas station. Miraculously, we've been able to navigate the process by building relationships rather than tearing them down or creating. We've torn down other things, but the families left as our friends. So we're pretty proud of how we handled this situation. It could have been done differently for sure. But March, we're hoping that dirt will start moving out there, and then we're hoping 6 months after that we'll have a safe and realigned intersection. So a lot of people didn't see that coming or think that would ever happen. And of course, I promised it would be done in 19, so we're a little late, but 20, I'm going to make that promise again. The other big project that we're going to see happen in '20 as well is from a $1 million grant that we received in 2016, and this one's to synchronize the 11 traffic signals on 40-foot road and Cowpath Road from Clemens Road, where the new Dunkin' Donuts is, all the way to Line Street on Cowpath. So 11 signals in what, without question, is our busiest corridor. The board, thankfully, back in 15 and 16, realized with the help of our consultant that those are roads, Cowpath specifically, we're not going to ever be able to widen Cowpath, and we're not going to be able to put a bridge or a tunnel. So the one thing that we can do to help manage traffic better is to have the signals synchronized. So hopefully we can reduce traffic congestion. So this year, you may have seen some of the flags out there on 40 foot. The process has already begun. The contractor's already been awarded by PennDOT. Township received $1 million of federal money from a grant called the CMAQ, which is the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant. Almost lost that one. So this year, those will be synchronized. We'll have access to all the signals. We'll be able to manipulate those as needed when we have failures, which we have often there. So we'll be able to actually fix them remotely, which is going to be a real nice advantage. So those are two of our bigger projects. Combined between them, roughly $5 million of investments into traffic management into Hatfield, and taxpayers only paid roughly 10% of that overall. So we're pretty happy with how we were able to accomplish both of these projects, and they're coming this year. So we'll talk about them more as we go. Again, next meeting, we get the award that bid, commissioners, and we hope that those numbers come in favorably. We have 9 contractors already that have entered into the online system that we use, that they've shown an interest, and we expect that they'll be placing a bid. So it's competitive, and we feel like we're going to get a good price. Again, that's a $1.9 million grant from PennDOT, which the township received. So those two projects alone, over $3 million worth of grant funds from outside agencies. In addition to that, so we're identifying our major problems, but we want to start chipping away at some of the other intersections that we've identified over the years as problems. So we'll start doing some more studies and preparing for the next capital improvements. We hope to implement some of the projects for the sidewalk study. We talked about that a lot last year. Commissioner Rogers was on the committee, as well as Tina and a few other stakeholders, and we appreciate their efforts. And we identified a lot of places that we can make Hatfield more walkable and livable. And already at this point, we're only a few months into the plan. We've already made a connection on Sterling Drive at North Penn Road. That's going to make our new Fricks Trail more walkable and more complete. So we hope to then continue and build off of that momentum in 2020. Then the Liberty Bell Trail feasibility study. We talked about this a few months ago. The board passed a resolution to join 6 other towns in an application to receive grant money, to apply for grant money for a feasibility study for the Liberty Bell Trail route. We don't know where it's going to go. That's the purpose of this study. But it's been considered what they call a significantly significant trail. Regionally significant, rather than saying the same word twice. Regionally significant trail. So we believe that 6 towns working together on something that the state and DVRPC consider significant, we think our opportunity to get grant funding is pretty high. So we look forward to that in 2020 and going through that process. It's going to be a very public process. I'm sure there'll be opinions flying in every direction, depending on where that trail goes. So a lot of it will happen in this room, and we'll see where that ends up. Finally, the last slide of goals for 2020, something that residents will, without question, see. We have those message boards that you see at School Road Park and at the Public Works facility on Unionville. Not the most efficient way to communicate, having someone stand on a ladder and put one letter up at a time and then go back out in the rain and remove them and update them. So we're going to get some digital signage at those 2 locations, as well as a partnership with our Historical Society and Hatfield Borough to put a digital sign there on Cowpath and capture those 16,000 cars that go down Cowpath a day, as well as then Unionville and School. So quicker way for emergency management purposes, it's great. Right, it's something that we can do remotely through our phone. if there's an lot or a snow warning or whatever it may be. But then in addition, we can promote all the great events that's happening in Hatfield Township as well as other items a lot easier and a lot more customer friendly. So those are our big picture goals that the commissioners have helped us identify in the end of 19 into 20, and we're going to chip away at those throughout this year. So I can continue to kill time before the judge comes, but gonna be here, all right.
So you covered both items under your report.
So I covered everything. Yep, Calpethor Villa was item number 2, and we'll talk more about that later this month.
Well, the solicitor's report's going to take about half an hour.
Right, I could go on and on to tell you that everything's fine.
Well, why don't we do this? We haven't done this in a while. I think I take a motion to temporarily, not adjourn, but recess.
Yeah.
Temporary recess.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Although we're not encouraging a half an hour of citizens' comments, but Ed, if you're so inclined, citizens' comment, it's your turn at the podium.
Ed Tarter, Downing Drive. Since you were talking about the Fricks Trail, that's why I'm here tonight. I've walked the portion now that's been open from Orvilla to Sterling. And the question I have is, there's a fabric fence that lines it for construction purposes. What's the game plan on that? Is still there?
That will be removed when we are told by DEP that we are allowed to remove that. That's part of the erosion and sediment control measures that we're obligated to provide, and we have not been told that we can remove those. Am I right, Brian?
That's correct. Township has to basically check in with the Montgomery County Conservation District, and John Wolf is going to meet with the representative. They have to walk it and make sure that everything's stabilized to their satisfaction. But once they see it's okay, they'll give the township the green light to take.
Okay, I was going to say, the trail itself is a nice walk, but it was like unfinished. Somebody forgot to throw out the paper after they
Yeah, no.
brought the package.
No, we're aware of it, and I've been in contact with John about it, and in part just time of year that everything kind of wound down with when they were able to get the trail done, and then boardwalk crossing, it just didn't really lend itself to all of the vegetation being reestablished.
Okay, well, that was my main thing. It
We're
didn't
on
get
it.
forgotten. I was going to say, that's not going to rot away. That's going to...
No, it's on, we're on it.
Thank you.
Sergeant, just keep in mind too, I'm glad you brought it up, we still are planning on paving that trail. So right now it is just the crushed stone. We're gonna pave it. We're actually, Public Works Committee later this month is gonna talk about when to put those bids out, but
I was
it's gonna be
curious
paved.
about that, but I didn't want to overload the circus here. I just wanted to deal with the one, but you are going to pave the whole trail from one end to, from
Pave the
Lion
entire
Lexington?
trail. We still have a lot of signage that we need to put in. There's still a lot of prettying up that we need to do before it's completely done. But now it's at least open for you to get your exercise in.
Yeah, you have a bridge you're going to still put in off of the basin there
There's
on
two
Downing?
bridges. There's two portions that we need to remove the stone, replace with bridges.
The only thing I would ask is, and the police department's already been out on patrol. I've observed them come out there, but once it's paved, we're going to have some motorized vehicles. I'm afraid they're going to be utilizing it as well, probably, so we're going to need some.
Did you just volunteer to come out of retirement?
No, sir, but I am, as a well-known, still quite out there reporting things I see.
We're well aware of that, Sergeant.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other citizens' comments? All right, why don't we take a motion for a short recess? And motion by Vice President Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lees. All in favor of a short recess, and we will return as quickly as possible, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. We'll be back in hopefully not much time. All right. Solicitor told me I should gavel more often, so with that, I will entertain a motion to reconvene, which I had nailed just a moment ago, and then I forgot. Is there a motion to reconvene our meeting this evening?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Zimmerman. All in favor of reconvening the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are going to reconvene, and now is the fun part. The continuation of our best evening from a couple of nights ago is the swearing in of our second longest serving commissioner in Hatfield history. And I have to tell you that I say that with a lot of respect. And we hope that there are many, many years ahead for Commissioner Andrus. He has been a staple in this community. We're thrilled to have him and his wife Kathy here tonight for the swearing in. The Honorable Judge Andrea Duffy will do that. And so with any further ado, I will pass the baton off.
Oh, wait, I don't have the oath. Does anyone have- All right, please repeat after me. I, Gerald Andrus,
I, Gerald Andrus,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
that I will discharge the duties
of Commissioner of Hatfield Township,
of Commissioner of Hatfield Township,
Montgomery County,
Montgomery County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Down.
The 22nd time. For the 22nd time.
So any of you who know a little bit, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Judge.
So any of you who know a little bit about what it's like to be a commissioner or to be a part of government knows that there are unsung heroes, and I should have mentioned, thank you, Kathy, for giving us Jerry for 18 years. That's a lot of time away from the house, away from the kids, and dedicated to the community, so we greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. We have one other item, and that is a volunteer board appointment, so all five of us can vote on this. Is there a motion to appoint Civil Service Commission member Jack Hoy for the term of January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2025? Andrus makes a motion. Second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that appointment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, Mr. Hoy is appointed to that commission. And with that, is there any other questions, comments, citizens' comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Andrus,
Second?
second by Commissioner Zimmerman. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Thanks for coming out, folks. Congratulations, Commissioner Andrus.